Well, that episode, Alora's dad, that we did of Reservation Dogs is why the Lowdown exists. I came down there to Tulsa. Sterlin and I got along like a house on fire, and he knew that show was wrapping up, and he presented me with this idea. I think that episode of Reservation Dogs was, I didn't know it, but was kind of my audition for whether or not we could really create something together. And after it was over, this whole thing caught fire.
My card?
Just like Lee Raybon's card.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that, Reservation Dogs was kind of my love for where I grew up in rural Oklahoma and that community. But I also spent a lot of time living in Tulsa and spending time with sort of a new family and community, which was my friends and artists and musicians and journalists in Tulsa. And I think that this was just kind of like trying to celebrate that, bring that all together. What is a story that can encapsulate that? And it felt very different from Reservation Dogs, but at the same time being in the same world. So, that's sort of what I did. And I grew up in a big community, so my nature is to always. I don't tell stories just about one person. I usually tell stories about a whole community and try to bring life and make it feel real, and like that's just, I think it's just the way that I grew up. It's what I saw and it's what I see when I live in Tulsa now. I love, honestly, like some of my biggest inspiration was my family and the way that they told stories growing up and sitting around the kitchen table. And, a lot of the storytelling that they did would be stories that were very small. And I think you would recognize this in this show, but also Reservation Dogs. It'd be about, the story would be about going to the grocery store or whatever, but the way they tell the story is so epic and big, and the characters and the pain and the love and the funny and the humor. And I try to encapsulate that. And I think that I got that from my family.
Well, you said it. You said I'm in really good hands with Sterlin. That's not always the case, in working. But between Sterlin and Ethan, and Ethan and I have a couple of great scenes together, and Gene Triplehorn too. I work with Gene as well. We created something I think very special, and a lot of that has to do with the energy that exists when we get in front of the camera together, and we take the script and we start there, and then we add to it and build on it, and that doesn't always happen, and we build on it and we make something stronger and better, and so that's just by virtue of the people that I'm working with, and they're absolutely wonderful.
Sterling has an amazing pen as a writer. If he was a rapper, he'd probably be one of the best storyteller rappers on earth. Like he'd be Biggie, Ice Cube, Slick Rick Worthy, Scarface. Like he's amazing because the most minute characters matter, and the magnanimous characters matter even more, and all of them matter together to getting you to a plot. You're left with endless cliffhangers throughout episodes. So I'm just honored to have been. This is a pretty big deal to be on this show. And I'm really just wetting my chops as an actor. And I'm just honored to have been asking for him and Ethan to have had so much confidence in me and help me grow. So I look forward to doing more, not less. But it's something I've always wanted to do, but I've always wanted to do right. I love movies. I love Tarantino movies. In particular, this felt very Tarantino-esque in that you couldn't predict what was happening next. So this, I think, was the perfect show for me to start on because it felt familiar in terms of my character. He feels like a strip club owner I know.
I spoke quite a bit beforehand with Sterlin to talk about the character and what he was thinking and what I was thinking. And then I also went in and talked with the writers for about 2.5 hours about my personal life, kind of growing up as a gay man and what that was like and the time period and everything, just so they would get a sense of it. So there was a lot of back and forth and coordination with that, which really does not happen that often in TV. And I think made for my character at least, a more, grounded and just more fun character to play. But because we don't get scripts in advance, because some of them are still being written, you never know, I hope I'm not the bad guy. I hope I'm not the killer, you know what I mean? And so there's a little bit of that going on too.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, and I just remember one time I asked one of the writers, am I the killer? And they all just laughed. So I thought, well, I guess I'm not.
Or they're good actors.
Or they're good actors, exactly, yeah. Go see Reservation Dogs, because Reservation Dogs, almost every episode was like a little movie. You got to meet new people almost every episode, and this is the same way. Like every episode, he goes on a new adventure, sometimes wild goose chases, and you're meeting all these interesting people along the way, and I just find that so cool.
It was great fun. Sterlin writes such amazing characters, and he has a thing that the great ones have, which is a way of orchestrating all of that, synthesizing all of that into a theme. And his story is about a guy who's trying to get at the truth, and it's something we need to hear. The story of a journalist getting to the truth. Isn't that something we could all benefit from? Art has always, and TV art has always had a way to sway public opinion. And in the TV that I've been doing lately, I've been looking for those pieces that can sway public opinion in a positive way. And a show like The Lowdown, as I say, which shows journalism in not only a positive light, but a kind of the ideal of journalism, I think is an important story to tell. Now, the fact that it's done in this fun, gritty pulp fiction package just makes it all the better. But
it's like sneaking the broccoli into the
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun playing around with this. And Sterlin, I'm big on improv, and Sterlin was like, here's script, and then do that, and then play around as much as you can. I have a real foul mouth, foul rank sense of humor personally, so I'm able to incorporate that into this character. I was just glad to be a part of this, and when I was contacted to audition for this, I was like, oh man, I hope I can seal this deal, and I did. And because of like my connection to Sterlin and stuff like that, like I know that he trusts me, and at the end of some takes there was a lot of laughter and stuff like that, but we'll see what makes it. I honestly don't know what made it.
I mean, it wasn't a difficult decision. I mean, I loved Sterlin's work before, and then when I read the script, I was like, yeah, more of the same. Genius combination of humor and justice. I dig it. So I wanted to be part of it no matter what. The particular character is a hard one, like whenever you're a guy doing immoral things, you got to figure out where does that come from, and in a way try to understand it experientially.
She really looks after her dad, and sometimes she gives him a little sass, but she's also really there for him and really looking after him. And being the child in that situation of almost having to parent your dad and look after him and just want what's best for him. And we end up going on this adventure together that is really special and unlike any other. Exciting. I without spoiling, I hope you'll be very surprised. And there's some turns coming, and I'm really excited to share.